Next up, we got some Goddess Wisdom coming to the stage. Jordan, come on up. Jordan's going to talk about the ripple effects of freedom. I don't know the sister very well, but I admire her greatly. So here we are.
Can I ask you guys a favor? Can everyone stand up for me? Stand up, stand up, stand up. Stand up, stand up, stand up. I'm going to call you out if you're not standing up. We just got 1, 2, 3 left. I need everyone in. Everyone in. Let's put our left hand up. Shake it out. Right hand. Booty. Jump up and down. How are you guys feeling? Who's hungover? Raise your hand. Who didn't sleep last night? Who slept all night? Awesome. I slept for like 18 hours. So haven't been back here since 24 hours ago. My name is Jordan Lewis. I am the creator of the Unicorn Way, and my purpose is to awaken humanity to an elevated way of being through connection, understanding, and inner truth. Yeah, you guys can sit down. I just wanted to move the energy a little bit because I didn't want to speak to a sleeping crowd. So when Luke asked me to pick a title to speak on, I had no idea what I was going to talk about. And he's like, but we need a title right now. And so I just said, Truth, the Ripple Effects to Freedom. I didn't know what that looked like. I didn't prepare for it. I have my shoes off. I'm just here to drop in and be super present with you guys. I'm going to share a little bit about my story and why I'm here. And what I hope you take away from this is the permission to show up as yourself in any container. Anyone have something they're super ashamed of? Raise your hand. Yeah, couple. Anyone have something that's gone on in their life that maybe they haven't shared with the public or your friend or your parents? Raise your hand. Yeah. So your mess is your message. That's what I've come to learn. And it's been really difficult for me to fully embrace and embody that. I've felt throughout my career especially so much imposter syndrome. And I'm not in that space anymore. And I know a lot of us in this camp and here at Envision Festival have done so much work, self-development work, spiritual work, and it leads you to a space where you're more self-accepting. But we can still get caught in that last stage of ego, that last stage of how am I going to be received by somebody else? What does this mean for me? And so I titled this Truth, the Ripple Effects to Freedom, because it's my personal belief system that to achieve ultimate bliss and ultimate freedom, you have to show up in raw truth in every interaction. And if any of you have interacted with me personally, raise your hand if you have. Woo, Alex. Okay, so this is a whole new crowd to me. You know that's the only way I show up, and it's not always easy. It's super, super difficult, and it's a practice that I've cultivated, and it's a practice that you can cultivate within yourself. And when you start to show up to the world that way, there's a ripple effect because you give others permission to do the same. So even at Envision Fest, even in super dope spiritual camps, right, there's still a lingering energy of how will I be received, right? Do I have to braid my hair? Do I have to wear a bikini bottom to go dance? Do I have to know all the spiritual language to sound like I know what the fuck I'm talking about, right? Do I have to achieve a certain level of exposure and awareness around my brand and my name to give value to my coaching or my program? Do I have to interact in a conversation that doesn't interest me to be accepted by a certain group of people? So this happens in any environment. This environment is no different. It's just a more elevated version of trying to show up as what others want us to be. And so what I would like you guys to take away from this very, very short talk is the permission to take off your mask. We're here for 2 reasons. We are on this earth for 2 reasons from my personal belief system. And let me just preface that with, we are not humans trying to have a spiritual experience. We are spirits trying to have a human experience. Right? So what does that mean? What does that look like? And why are we here? We're here for 2 reasons. The first one, to create the fullest expression of self, to use our human vessel to fully express our soul's being, purpose, essence. The second, to cultivate, create, and strengthen our purest connection to Source. Now, I don't push any spiritual belief. I believe everyone has a spiritual belief of their own understanding. But whatever your personal belief system is, whatever your source is, you can call it God, the divine, universe. You're here to fully express yourself in form in your human body and to create your purest connection to Source. So what does this have to do with showing up in truth? Well, if you are showing up, whether it's in delivery of a message or in a work purpose, or in a space to create meaningful relationships, and you're showing up with the intention that you want to be received in a certain way by those around you, you're not fully expressing self, right? Because chances are it's not all coming through, or it's coming through a little bit tainted, and you're not in your purest connection to Source. When you're in your purest connection to Source, the raw shit comes. Your mess comes. The experiences that you chose on a spirit level to have in this lifetime, in this human body, to get you to a learning and a cultivating of a relationship that you wanted to experience in this body, in this timeline, can only come from the truest essence of self. And it's tough. It's tough to strip that last stage of ego, to peel back the onion and say, hey, this is all I got. Well, what makes you credible to do your work? Nothing. Fucking life experience. Well, what does this mean? It means whatever you take it to mean. Whatever your message is, whatever your purpose is, whatever your art is. So I don't know how long I have, David. I think I'm probably getting close. But I want to leave you guys. Oh, 7 minutes. Wow. Okay. Let me sit here and see what wants to come through. But I want to leave you guys with one thing for sure. The quality of life that you'll be able to experience in this timeline is going to be so much more fucking rad if you get out of your own way. And regardless of how much self-development work we do or spiritual work we do, we're human. And we're coming from a conditioned mindset from our upbringing, from our society, from our new communities, from our idea of what spirituality should look like, what connection should look like. And there's no wrong way. There's no wrong way. So, who has a purpose? Raise your hand. Only half of you? I'm going to first invite the other half of you to move your fucking ass. The first half, and this is really the meat and potatoes of what I wanted to share and why truth is so important. Your job, your only job, is delivery of the message, not the receipt of it. And oftentimes when we're struggling with that last stage of ego, or when we're struggling with the ability to work through how we're going to be received by others, it's because we're taking on the responsibility of their receipt of our message. And just like our message and our purpose, or our passion, or our art, is part of our human experience that we called in as a spirit to embody and bring to life in this timeline, we also called in our experience of what we're receiving from others. So by holding the responsibility of what somebody else is going to receive from you, You're actually robbing them of part of their experience. Can anyone relate to this? Raise your hand if you can relate to this. Yeah. So, I mean, that's essentially all I wanted to share. I don't really have any bombs to drop on you guys. Were any of you here for the roast yesterday morning? Raise your hand. Yeah, a couple of you. Were you triggered by Kevin? Raise your hand. Yeah, a little bit. Were any of you super enlightened and felt freed up by Kevin's shares? Yeah, some of you. Yeah, so the truth, and it doesn't always have to be put so aggressively. Where's my brother? It was fun and it was funny, but a lot of it was really raw. And a lot of it, that rawness, is super uncomfortable. And so when you are connecting in with people in relationships, if you're connecting in with people in friendships and community and career, that rawness, that uncomfortableness, that's where the magic is. The just showing up, the just sharing what's on your heart. Has anyone been asked, how are you doing? How are you feeling? Raise your hand if you've been asked that. I know I've asked several of you that. How many of you actually shared how you were feeling in that moment? Yeah, couple. So how many of you just said good? Okay. So when someone asks you, how are you feeling? I'm going to invite you to take that to be the first step of showing up purely authentic and stop, check in with yourself and take note. And there's still stories that are going to come up. So at Punta Mona, I got sick for a little bit. And people would ask me, how are you doing? And it's so funny because I'm always taking it an inventory of when somebody's interacting with me, are they truly wanting to know how I'm feeling? Or are they passing the time with a, hey, how are you? And so when someone asks, how am I doing? And I'm like, actually, my stomach's really fucked up. Something's wrong. I think I need energy work, blah, blah, blah. Some people are like, oh, okay. Well, good luck with that. And they walk away. Why? Because it's uncomfortable. So it's uncomfortable because they didn't really want to know how I was doing. They wanted to make sure that they acknowledged me and passed the time. So I'm going to invite you, too, when you're showing up authentically, and if you see someone and you don't have time to connect in with them like that, don't say, how are you doing? Unless you're ready to sit there and be present and receive the truth that's going to come through them. Because when you're showing up authentically, they're going to feel the permission to do the same. So a proper is hi. I know. 7 minutes went fast.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to just leave you guys with that. I'm going to invite you all to check in with yourself, show up really raw. Remember the 2 reasons you're here are for fullest expression of self, purest connection to source. And if you're having a hard time accessing the truth of the spirit you're embodying, feel free to find me. We'll have a conversation, and I'm happy to help you unlock that.